like and subscribe down below because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 73. I will there be light. Isn't this an amazing idea? We have already been told in these lessons that we are the light of the world. When I recognize this light in myself, I'm willing that that light shines out and touches the entire world. Let's read today's lesson. Today, we are considering the will you share with God. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes out of which darkness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be strong, but they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. Let's talk about it. We are an idea in the mind of God, and because of that, we share all of God's riches. Not only that, but we share the will of God. When we're living in the world of the ego, we don't recognize that. We believe that we have our own will, but we have been imposters and we were wearing our armor. We were protecting ourselves. None of that was real. That was not the truth of who we were. Every single one of us are God's beautiful, beloved children. And because we are joined with God and all of creation, we share in God's will. Do you have any trouble accepting that, my friends? I think we all recognize that at some level. Because when we're living in the world of the ego, we're never settled. We're never quite content. We know that something is missing. We just don't know what it is. A Course in Miracles helps us to recognize the truth of who we are as God's beautiful, beloved children. And when we come home to the truth of who we are able to access all of God's power, all of God's strength, and all of God's glory. Let's keep reading. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. These figures become the middlemen the ego employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers or yourself. Let's talk about it. I love how the Course explains the ego and all of the tricks that the ego employs to keep us from recognizing that we are part of God. It says here, idle wishes and grievances are partners in picturing the world we see. So we have these idle wishes. We wish that people would serve our needs. We wish that the world would go according to our plans. Anytime that we are not living in the moment, accepting that things are unfolding exactly as they are supposed to, then we are setting ourselves up for grievances. And grievances are the way that the ego uses to keep us separate from God and all other people. We cannot be experiencing our oneness with God and all of creation if we are holding a grievance of any kind. We are going to revisit this theme over and over and over again throughout the Course. Forgiveness is a major pillar and the key that unlocks the door to the pain and suffering of the ego. If you need help with the forgiveness process, please check out my website at www.arlenegeres.com. I've written about this many times in my blog. I offer an online as well as a live retreat called Freedom Through Forgiveness. Or send me an email. Let me know if you would like to receive more information about that. Let's keep reading. Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Let's think about these questions for a minute. Do you believe that God created pain and suffering? Do you believe that God would create a world in which we become completely lost? Do you believe that God created your disaster? Do you believe that God created any of the pain and suffering that you have gone through? And the most interesting question of all, do you believe that God would create a world that kills his beloved children? I don't believe that for a second. I believe that God loves every single one of us so deeply. He treasures us. He literally holds us in the palm of his hand, where we are always safe and protected. Only God's love is eternal. Only in God are we going to find our peace, joy, and happiness. Let's keep reading. Today we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it. If you'd like to close your eyes, I'm going to read this paragraph one more time as a meditation. Take a deep breath. We are going to try to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in this world. Let's drop down deeper and deeper within ourselves as we reach towards this light. See this light growing stronger and stronger. The light is in you because it does not oppose the will of God. God is light. You are light. See the light of heaven shining in this place, deep inside of you. See this light growing brighter and brighter. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. As this light grows brighter and brighter, see that this is your will. Every time that we go within, we are going to find this light that continues to grow stronger and stronger in every single one of us. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes, and we'll continue with today's reading. Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and your salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Let's talk about it. Since the very beginning of reading these workbook lessons, we have been learning that what is going on inside of us is what we project out onto the world. If we have darkness inside, if we're holding grievances of any kind, we are going to see pain and suffering out there in the world. A Course in Miracles tells us that the barrier of grievances is easily passed. We simply surrender them to God. Whatever we are holding a grievance against is actually our Savior. It has come to reveal the unhealed places inside of us. When these places come to the surface, then they are ready to be healed. So let's be grateful anytime that we notice that we have a grievance towards someone and take this opportunity for deeper healing. Let's keep reading. Forget the ego's arguments which seek to prove that all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Such is your will in truth, and so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and your glad accord. We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you. Above all else, you want freedom to remember who you really are. Today, it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it. Let's talk about it. There's a wonderful book by Dietrich Wolfsack called Choose Again, in which he talks about this point of when we recognize that we're caught up in grievances, we can choose again. We can choose to let go of the grievance. We can choose to come home to the truth of who we are and who everyone else is as well. We can let go of our suffering. We do not need to suffer 1 second longer. We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. Do you want salvation for yourself, my friends? How badly do you want it? That's really the question. If it's our heart's desire, then we are guaranteed that we will succeed. Above all else, we want the freedom to remember who we are. Let's keep reading. Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what it is your will to find, and remember what it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us, nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Today, let your will be done, and forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. His will is now restored to His awareness. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in Him and be saved. Let's talk about it. Are you convinced that your will and God's will are the same? Is there anyone here who does not want perfect joy, peace, and happiness? When we accept this as being true for ourselves, we are coming home to God, and we accept that our will and God's will are truly the same. Today, let your will be done, and forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose. Let's choose heaven today and every day. Let's finish the reading. After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Then let your will assert itself, joined with the power of God and united with yourself. But the rest of the practice period, under their guidance, join with them as they lead the way. In the shorter practice periods, again, make a declaration of what you really want. Say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour. It is most important, however, to apply today's idea in this form immediately you are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go instead of cherishing them and hiding them in darkness. Let's talk about it. Whatever secrets we are holding inside of ourselves, whatever darkness we believe we are hiding is the problem, my friends. What are you keeping secret? What are you hiding in the dark? I would encourage you to journal about this. Do not leave anything hidden. Find a trusted person to talk to. It can be a counselor. It can be a therapist. It can be your pastor. It could be a trusted friend. We need to share these secrets. The secrets are what keep us sick. Bring these secrets to the light, and God will heal all of those broken places inside of us. For our practice periods today, first thing in the morning, last thing just before we go to sleep, we are asked to read or listen to today's lesson and recognize that our will is in line with God's, and we only want God's plan for salvation. And we will remind ourselves that we have this light within that is burning brighter every day as we continue to do these practices. After we remind ourselves of this light, we are asked to say to ourselves, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. And then we simply sit for a minimum of 5 minutes. The more that we practice this meditation, the longer that we want them to be. as we begin to hunger for this time with God. It is recommended that we do our shorter practice periods several times an hour. You get to choose how often you want these to be. Maybe a reminder every 5 minutes to just stop and say the idea to yourself and then continue on. I would highly recommend that you schedule these into your phone or into your watch so that you remember to do them. It is especially important that we call on this idea. In these practice periods, we simply say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This is especially important anytime that we are upset for any reason. We simply come back, we say the idea, we come home to God, we come back to center, and we let go of whatever grievance is bothering us at the time. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell someone about these videos. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat? Take off. I'm not sure what kind of bird he is, but he is gorgeous. Come on out from behind the tree. There you are. Oh my goodness. Just amazing. Wow. I've never seen one of those guys here. Oh, he's so beautiful. Yum. We all love papayas.
Look at that.
There he is. Did he go?
He took.
I will there be light. Let your light shine freely for all the world to see, my friends. I love you.